Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. This week is not really a plan with me in the sense of like decorating and what I'm doing in my teacher planner, but I thought I would show you how I actually plan for each lesson for each grade level. So very few stickers in this one. I'm also going to be answering 10 questions that was put forth by another teacher and YouTuber named Pocket Full of Primary. Her name's Michelle Emerson, and I thought I would participate with that, but with my planners. So I'll give you a little insight into how I plan for music class, as well as how things are going during the pandemic. So right now all I'm doing is kind of labeling out so that you guys can easily see K through 5. And then at the end of the columns where Sunday is, I will write down the questions so that you guys can see them too. Kind of in note form though, not the full question. The first question she asks is, how are you teaching during the pandemic? Like, what is your format? Whether it's all virtual, hybrid, or in person. I've mentioned before in my planner videos, specifically my teacher ones, that we are in person with the option of virtual. We do have a lot, I will say now that we are at the end of November, we've had a lot of kids move to virtual just because there's a lot of case risings. It's hard to keep track of, to be quite honest, and I'm not trying to be mean, but like because I have so many kids, I think I'm in a different spot than maybe the classroom teachers are. It's hard to keep track of who's in, who's out, who am I posting for, who should I be looking for assignments from. That part's tricky because each grade level, I have 2 grade levels that have a virtual classroom. So first grade has 1 virtual classroom and 3rd grade has 1 virtual classroom. All the virtual kids are in that room. Whereas the rest of my grade levels have their in-person kiddos and a few virtual kiddos as well. So it just, I haven't found my stride in how to keep track of where everybody's at. I'm getting closer. Every time I think I got it, something changes. So that's how that goes. You got to add some detail to the K1 through 5. Her second question is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how are you doing? And our superintendent actually put that question to us recently, but with a scale of 1 to 5. And in my comments, I said it's emotional whiplash. Some days I am like 9, 10. Life is good. And then the very next day I can drop to a 1. And it's hard to manage that swing in emotions. But I mean, we're making it work. I like being with my kiddos, whether it's virtually or in person. But it is getting kind of draining. I would say that. Most of you know that I rest a lot on the weekends. Train's here. Always for the planner videos, the train is here. So, emotional whiplash. And I feel like everybody's going through that. Like, I hate to say that, oh, teaching is hard. No, every job is hard right now. Every job is hard. So, that's how that goes. So, right now I'm kind of writing out about kind of a philosophy of education at the top. From the time you're born to about 7 years old, everyone has a lump of clay for each subject, for all things, learning styles, areas of interest, however you want to describe it. Until the age of 7, we are forming that clay into the largest jar possible. So that gets really tricky when you're a teacher and maybe the first time you've seen this child is in kindergarten. Because at that point they're already 5 or 6. But a lot of learning happens from the time you're born. And even before that, because remember that the baby is listening. So from the time you're born all the way up to age 7, so much information is being processed. So I always say just because, your baby may not communicate with you in the way that you are used to communicating with adults doesn't mean that they're not communicating. Sing to your babies, read to them, rhymes, all of those things. It helps build that jar, okay? By the age of 7, that jar has started to harden, and it is much harder to make a bigger jar. Now you're focused on filling it. So if you haven't taken the time to put in, it's kind of like Stephen Covey mentions in the 7 Habits book that, you can't cram on a farm. You can't play all summer and then hope to plant seeds in August and then harvest it in September, October. Everything takes time and it takes a little bit of work. I think music work is fun, so that part's good. So in grades 2 and up, you're filling those jars. So my focus in music is to give them as many musical experiences in K1 and even 2. And then 2nd grade on up, we're filling up those musical experiences with, hey, and then we call this rhythm, we call this beat, we call this melody, we call this pitch, and we start defining things and, giving them the language to talk about music. It's all about the experiences in the beginning and then the language to talk about it and to express it later on. Question number 3 was, what is one positive of your format? There have been some kiddos that I've gotten to really know in a different way because they're in the comfort of their own home. They're a little bit more, they participate a little bit more in a way they wouldn't if they were in a classroom. So that part is really interesting. It has changed the group dynamic a lot because, some kiddos who were there are now not. And so the classroom size is a little bit different. What are you rocking? I would say bucket drumming with my 5th graders. I would never have probably tried bucket drumming if it wasn't for the fact that cleaning my real drums is a difficult process. You can't use a Clorox wipe on it. You can't do anything like that. So some people have used shower curtains or shower caps on their instruments that are hard to clean. That way they can still play them. I'm using buckets. The 4th graders have heard and seen the 5th graders starting to use that, and they're excited to do it themselves. So that part's cool. So all of my grade levels do some sort of vocal warm-up, whether it's a sigh like oh, just to stretch their vocal cords out, because we all talk at a certain tone, and to be able to sing or express, you need to be able to stretch that vocal cord or vocal muscles, those vocal cords out. So even we wear our masks, and I make sure that our vocalizing is a short period of time right now. Very, very short. I see K to 3 for 40 minutes and 4th and 5th for 50 minutes. So it's a small part of our lesson when we're doing any type of singing. And we always take breaks because that singing right now is still an issue. So that would probably be number 5. Number 5 would be my challenge. Zoom doesn't like music. You cannot sing together. I always have to ask the kids, when I'm meeting with my completely virtual classrooms in 1 and 3, everybody mute. Let's sing this song. I don't know. I can tell if they're singing because they're moving their mouths, but I can't tell if they're singing it accurately yet. And I don't really want to put the pressure on them to sing in front of a group yet in that way. There's it's that really fine line. Sometimes I've had them record themselves and submit it to me, but that singing is probably the biggest challenge right now. But it gets better. We still find ways to do it. So in kindergarten 1st and 2nd, we're working on echo songs, and those are short songs that just straight up repeat after each other. third, fourth, and fifth, we start moving into harder songs called call and response songs, where the soloist, whoever that is, whether it's the teacher or another student, sings something and then the other students respond with something different. So there's a distractor in there and the kids have to remember what their response is. And then also K1 and 2, we're working on simple songs, and as they get older, that pitch range expands. So in kindergarten, it's maybe 3 notes, and then in first grade, it starts expanding. In second grade, by the time they hit third grade, they're singing an entire scale. They just don't know that's what they're doing yet. We also start working on rounds and canons once we have solidified how to sing in tune together, for the most part. And rounds and canons, for those who might not know, rounds would be like, when you sing row, row, row your boat, and then somebody else comes in but singing at the beginning, but you're partway through. That's a round. The next question is, what is something that has made it easier to teach during the pandemic? I think that one's tricky. I've been using Google Slides a lot. I hadn't really ever done that, so that's been helping me out a little bit. Kind of keeping things focused. Videos. There's a great YouTube channel called Musication, and they have play-alongs. So, and what's nice is that he's made the play-alongs so that anyone can do them, whether you have instruments or not. You can do something with it, and he gives you instructions on how to do that, which is great. So, speaking of instrument playing and, rhythms and things like that, in K1 and 2, and a little bit of 3, we do beat explorations, and then we solidify the beat in 4th and 5th. Beat keeping is very tricky. Kindergarten, developmentally, they need more time. Like walking to the beat is really hard. You'd be surprised. And then we, of course, focus on rhymes, chants, rhythms. We start our rhythm units in 2nd grade if they are strong enough in their rhymes and chants. That was one thing this year that was a big heads up for me, is that usually my 2nd graders fly through the first rhythm unit, and then I realized we missed a portion of last year, so they're missing some of those key building blocks to help them with Unit 1, so it's taken a little bit longer. 4th grade, and 5th grade, we would typically do recorders. Well, that's not going to be quite the same, is it? So we are doing bucket drumming in 5th grade, xylophones in 4th grade, and boom whackers in 3rd grade. And then in 2nd grade, we introduced the music books, which is pretty funny because they haven't actually followed along in a music book until 2nd grade. What changes have you made, and what has your favorite purchase been? I really haven't my planners are probably my favorite purchase, but I get that every year. But it does help me keep track of things. And then a change I've made is probably using the Google Slides, and I'm starting to work with Nearpod, which is super awesome. Love using that. We're going to keep that up as well. Also, I've been focused on the 7 habits with the kiddos, so that's always good too. Movement exploration has been interesting in chairs, but we are rocking it out. Normally I'd be doing folk dancing too, but can't move that much. How are you taking care of yourself during the pandemic? Giving myself time to rest, especially on the weekends. That part's super important. Letting myself nap and being okay with it. And then finally, what is making you happy? Reading, taking time for myself, doing these planner videos. This has been a great thing for me, very cathartic. And so I just like talking with you all. So the end of each lesson, I try to do a story song. At the 4th and 5th grade level, it's a little bit trickier to do that just because it's, usually we're very, very involved in our instruments at that time, so sometimes we don't get to it. And as I said before, I've been very 7 habits focused with my kiddos this year, and that has been that's a change I'm probably also going to keep too. So this follows a First Steps in Music curriculum and Conversational Solfege. Love both of those. They're both by John Feyerabend. And isn't that a great name? Feyerabend. So that's kind of the curriculum I use, and then I, mesh what I need from other sources after that. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more of my videos, hit that subscribe button and check me out on Instagram, and I'll catch you in the next one.